Am I the asshole for giving my mill the wrong address so she could no longer send her granddaughter gifts? I, 42 male, have been married to my wife, 39 female, for 15 years. We have a wonderful 14-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. My wife's mother has some views that I don't agree with. 2 years ago, for our daughter's 12th birthday, she sent her a book about crash dieting that promised something like 10 pounds of weight loss in 3 days. Our daughter was devastated because the underlying message was clear as day. It was a month until she started eating a whole plate of food for dinner again. Our daughter is a healthy girl. She is highly active, studious, and most importantly, happy. Her grandmother believes that she's not reaching her full potential, whatever that means, and thinks that she'll be on the front covers of magazines if she can just shed some weight. Since she made these views clear to me, I have made it my mission to block any unsupervised contact, and this includes gifts. About a month ago, with my daughter's upcoming 14th birthday, Grandma texted me asking for our new address. Normally she would ask my wife, but since she didn't answer within 10 minutes, she texted me instead. My wife would have given her our real address, but I was able to respond first with a fake one and tell my wife no response was necessary. I couldn't guarantee that I'd be home to intercept any gifts, and my daughter would open something addressed to her. It gave her some numbers, a street somewhere that I wasn't even sure existed. A couple of weeks later, after my daughter's birthday, I realized that it did not in fact exist as her package was returned to her. Both she and my wife were furious, and my wife amended the address I gave her before. Grandma insisted it was a completely innocent package. Well, the day it was scheduled for delivery, I decided to work from home. When it arrived, I opened it up and found a baton-twirling uniform, my daughter's hobby. Sound innocent enough? It was at least 2 sizes too small. I sat my wife down with the stupid thing in front of us and said it was clearly intentional, which my wife refuses to acknowledge. Now she and her mother are even madder at me for throwing the uniform into the neighbor's garbage, with the neighbor's permission. Did I handle this correctly? Not the asshole. You don't have a mill problem. You have a wife problem. It's time for you and your wife to have an honest discussion about how she views your daughter's weight. Not the asshole. Your wife is disrespecting your values as the other parent, and your daughter's mental well-being, in order to enable her mother's incredibly disgusting behavior. You've already experienced the damage it did previously. Your wife is being irresponsible by allowing it to happen again. She needs her eyes opened to the harm she's opening her daughter to. Not the asshole. Mom and Granny seem determined to psychologically damage your daughter, in spite of your best efforts to be a responsible parent. Maybe you need to have a serious discussion with your daughter about how to ignore ignorant and hurtful people. I would be scared that if your wife isn't backing you up on this, is she also telling your daughter these things when you're not there? Am I the asshole for refusing to do my friend's wedding cake at a huge discount? I, 32 female, have a friend, Ashley, 33 female, who is getting married the first week of November. We've been friends since we were kids, and I'm also a bridesmaid in her wedding. We've been talking about wedding stuff for the past year as I recently married in April, so it's been fun doing wedding stuff together until Ashley dropped some bad news. The person responsible for the cake for her wedding is moving and is no longer able to do it. She was refunded her money but now out of a cake. I am a cake decorator myself. I was a teacher, and this is my first year as a school administrator, but I've held jobs in high-end bakeries and make cakes for fun out of my house. I don't have a cake business as I don't want one. Ashley asked me if I can do her wedding cake. I at first declined as I never do cakes for large events, but with the date coming up and her not being able to find anyone, I caved. Ashley wants a 4-tiered cake with 4 different flavors and 100 cupcakes, 25 of each flavor. The decorations will require me to order specialty molds and I'll have to hand paint some gold onto the cake, as well. Total cost came out to $825, $100 more than the previous baker. Ashley was upset and said I was overcharging, but I showed her the breakdown. I used the same pricing system as one of the bakeries I worked at and it wasn't even the most expensive one. I told her I would do it for the other quote if she was strapped for money, but Ashley then asked me to do it for only $150. When I asked why, Ashley said since she's my friend, she should get a good deal and she could use the money to upgrade the hotel for their honeymoon, to think of it as my wedding gift to her. I told her she was getting a good deal as I was willing to go to the price point of the previous baker. But she mentioned that I did my sister's cake for free several years ago and do free birthday and anniversary cakes for my immediate family all the time. I told her family and friends are not the same. Plus, I had more time to do my sister's cake as I had less responsibilities as a teacher back then compared to what I do now. She told me I needed a friend discount, so I said, the discount is you get 0% off 100% of the time, and if you keep bothering me, I'll even add tax. Basically, Ashley didn't like that response and has told the rest of the bridal party what I said, so I'm getting pressure from 9 additional women to drop the price, though some say to half it instead of dropping it to $150. My parents paid for my wedding, so their main argument is I don't need the money nearly as much as Ashley does, which they only know because they saw me using my parents' credit card several times when out wedding shopping. Only her maid of honor, her sister, thinks Ashley is being unreasonable. My husband thinks I should drop out of the wedding and not give her anything, but he also doesn't like Ashley or her fiancé, he thinks she's a spoiled brat. Am I the asshole? Edit. I've only paid for my dress for her wedding. I'm also doing my own hair and makeup myself. But the only money I've spent so far for her wedding on my end is for my dress and shoes. Edit 2. To clarify, baking is a skill. Paying for just ingredients and molds would be maybe $150–200 but is already factored into the cake cost you buy. What most home bakers base their price on is the intricacy of the design, the difficulty, their clientele location, and, most importantly, time. Then cakes are priced with that combined with the serving size. She has 120 guests. A serving is $4.75 per person, so $570. Because 100 doesn't divide by 12 but is still a large number of cupcakes, I discounted the cupcakes from $3.50 per decorated wedding cupcake to the price of a regular plain cupcake with no decorations, which is $2.50. So the cupcakes were $250. Total price is $820. I upped it to $825 so the extra $5 could pay for the box to deliver the cake, which I don't normally have in my house as I don't typically make cakes that big. Not the asshole. I'm on team husband. Not the asshole. If they all want you to drop the price they can all throw in $100. A wedding cake and 100 cupcakes for a wedding isn't the same as Aunt Betty's 58th birthday. That's pressure times 10. Not the asshole. And I agree with your husband. You should give Ashley a $700 gift? On top of what you probably already spent? No. Her entitlement is not your problem. Plus, the harassment is unacceptable. And the longer she waits the less chance she's going to get her over-the-top cake and more likely she'll wind up with a sheet cake from Walmart. Not the asshole. If she wants to only spend $150 she can have a $150 cake. Your husband is right. Or how about this: all these girls demanding a discount can make it themselves or all pitch in to pay for it. Am I the asshole for refusing to cancel a trip with my best friend? I, 25F, have been with my boyfriend, 28M, for almost 3 months now. I have an upcoming trip with my best friend to Italy that my boyfriend wants me to cancel. We have been planning this trip for months now, booked the tickets 6 months ago, and my boyfriend doesn't care that this was all planned before him. The only reason why he wants me to cancel the trip is because my friend is a guy, 25M, and my boyfriend doesn't trust us to spend a week together on this trip. We're sharing a hotel room to save some money, but there are separate beds. I've been best friends with this guy since my freshman year of college and I don't plan on not being friends with him over someone I just recently started dating. I haven't told my friend how my boyfriend feels, and our trip is nearly 3 weeks away. So, am I the asshole for refusing the cancel? Edit. Since everyone's hounding me about it, yes, I have slept with my friend. We had maybe 5 millines of drunken sex my freshman year 7 years ago. Didn't even finish. Felt so weird and awkward. We have no romantic or physical attraction towards one another, so we decided to put it in the past and just be friends. Since then, we've been on many trips, stayed in hotel rooms before, and no one had made a move towards one another. While I can understand this to be a factor in his problems with my friend, I don't think it's enough for him to not trust me. I respect him enough and trust him enough to not cheat on me. If roles were reversed, I would be fine with him taking the trip. If someone's going to cheat on me, it doesn't require a trip to Europe to do so. Edit 2. It's been brought to my attention that someone has made an account from my boyfriend's POV to attention to call out a double standard. It's a fake account, not my boyfriend. He doesn't use Reddit nor know how it works. And they still called him the AW. Not the asshole, but be aware that he's already trying to control you after 3 months. Imagine how much worse that could be in 6 months or even a year. Redditors are ridiculous. She had a drunk hookup with this guy who is supposedly her best friend and she is gonna go on a trip with him, stay in the same room with him, and everyone is calling boyfriend insecure. Y'all are bunch of idealist. If you think boyfriend is controlling in this situation, he has the right to be. I would definitely recommend opt to break up because this relationship is doomed because of OP's actions. I'll totally welcome down votes. Not the asshole. Location flag, location flag, location flag, location flag. To be this early into a relationship and he's already trying to dictate who you can associate with. Go to Italy and have an amazing time. I hope you have the trip of a lifetime. Am I the asshole for making my husband fly coach while I flew first class? My husband's 33 male company recently chose him to attend a conference in Miami. They chose just him and a few of his county workers out of a ton of candidates, so it was quite the honor. The company told them that they were allowed to bring their spouses, partners, but that they wouldn't be springing for plane tickets for us, so if they wanted to bring us they'd have to buy tickets out of their own pockets. My husband asked me, 32 female, if I wanted to go, and I emphatically told him that I did. I'd never been to Florida in my life and I thought it'd be a fun trip. He told me, great. But when we went to the website to buy tickets he asked if I'd be okay with flying coach even though he'd be flying first class on the way there, coach on the way home. I asked him why we couldn't just fly together and he replied, first class is just so expensive. I feel bad but we just can't afford it, especially if we want to go out and have fun in Miami. The flight is only a few hours. This really bothered me. I understood that a first-class ticket for me would strain our budget a bit, but what kind of a man lives it up in first class while his wife sits in coach? I asked him just that and he responded, come on. I'm taking you along on my work trip. I earned my first-class seat by working hard. It's my reward. But I insisted that if we truly couldn't afford a first-class seat for me, we could have. It would have hurt a little but we could have, that he as a gentleman should give up his seat for me. We argued but he ultimately agreed to give me his seat. We had a good time in Miami but he's been a little mad at me since, saying that he earned his first-class seat. That it was free and cost us nothing unlike my plane ticket, and that I should have just let him enjoy what he'd earned instead of guilting him out of it. I think he's being a baby and that he should have put his wife's comfort above his own, especially since he made the choice to be cheap. We're very close to his parents so we've taken this argument to them for mediation but they are split. His father agrees with me that he wasn't being a gentleman while his mother thinks that he earned his first-class seat and that I should have let him have it. So I'll ask all of you, am I the asshole? You are the asshole. His company comped the first-class ticket for him. What kind of wife insists her husband give up the ticket his company paid for on his behalf so she could live it up a little? Why didn't you just cover the cost difference of first class yourself? You are the asshole. What kind of wife puts her comfort above that of her husband's? You're a hypocrite and you cheated him out of something he earned and deserved just for your personal enjoyment. He didn't have to bring you to Florida. Offer a hand, they'll take an arm. You are the asshole, not so much for the seat situation. More so your whole outlook on this venture. This was his moment, his trip. He wanted to share that with you, but it seems like that in and of itself wasn't good enough for you.